everything that you did in that customer service job, and how. Okay, there are 3 major steps in having a successful resume. Preparation, being prepared to write the resume is most important. Collecting the data to go on the resume. Formatting, layout and design, and then the content, writing the resume and with great content. So making sure that it's legible, understandable, grammar, all that good stuff. Preparation for the resume. Collect the dates of employment in chronological order. Collect the city and state of your last employers. It's always imperative to put the city and the state of your last employer because people want to know where that employer is and located geographically. Get a copy of your description that matches your job title. This will assist you with the writing process regarding your job responsibilities. So what I always do is I take, like if you're at a job right now and you're a customer service manager, ask for your job description from that employer. Take what they put and put it into your resume in a way that it makes sense. Because some of the terminologies and keywords that they use in that job description is going to be perfect for your resume. Okay, and that's just, and even also when you're looking for a future job and you say, okay, I want to be office manager. Well, what is the criteria for an office manager? Go pull it off the internet. Look on there for the job responsibilities for that particular criteria and add it into your resume so you have those keywords. Collect your dates of your education and certifications. So that's important too. Not so much high school diploma unless you just recently graduated. If you've been in the workforce for a long period of time, having your high school is kind of irrelevant, so you don't really need to put that on there. If you've had a bachelor's degree or if you've had some type of certifications, those are always great to put on your resume. Okay? Formatting the resume. Decide the layout and design, your borders, font, and colors. That's very important. You know, when somebody's looking at your resume, I look at the formatting, like, do they know how to format a resume? How it looks, presentation. It's that first impression of you, okay? Decide the order of the resume, how you're gonna do it, your objective summary of qualifications, professional summary should go first, then maybe your areas of expertise, your core competencies, and then decide the headline titles, add your professional summary, your areas of expertise, the core competencies, and also your accomplishments. I think earlier in the panelists, they talked about accomplishments. We don't speak too highly of our accomplishments, but that needs to be in your resume because they don't know you from a can of paint. They need to get to know you. What have you done? Tell me a little bit about yourself, and those accomplishments will tell them about you, what you've done for another company, and how those can be a great asset moving forward with their company. Professional experience. Make sure you put your professional experience on there, what you've done, and all your responsibilities. Sometimes we leave out key things that is important. So just make sure that you put your professional experience in chronological order. Your skills. What are your skill sets? Okay, I know PowerPoint, I know Word, I know Excel. Some of the programs that you use that, maybe like AS9100, an Ebook system, some type of data entry system that you're using at work, make sure that you list those as a skill set because most people don't know that. Or maybe you used a payroll system, an ADP or Paychecks or something like that. Those are all key skill sets that you need to make sure that you put and include in your resume. And then of course your education. What education level do you have? Starting with your highest education down to the lowest education. You want to go in chronological order. The content for the resume. Decide the wording for your resume. Use descriptive words. It's very important to use descriptive adjectives into your resume. And it just builds up and they can actually get engaged with your resume, okay? Use keywords to attract the reader. So you want to drag them in. You want to especially tailor it to the job that you're looking for or applying for, okay? So they want to see those keywords, and those are the ones that they're going to actually call. Make sure that it's proofread for mistakes, okay? So misspelling, it might just get thrown in the trash because you misspelled something or the grammar wasn't right. So ensure you're using correct grammar, past, present, and future. I've gone through thousands and thousands of resumes, and they're talking about their current position in a past tense. Like, no, you're still there. You said you're presently there, but you're talking about past. So just make sure that you're using the correct tense, and when it's past, it's past. Okay, ED, ED, ED. And then ensure the resume gives your strong assets to offer to the employer. So make sure you're selling yourself within the resume. Okay, and then write the resume, of course. We didn't touch upon cover letters, but cover letters are also good to include with your resume. It just outlines your whole broad scope of what you've done in an overall picture. So also include a cover letter with your resume. Okay, so regardless of which type of resume you choose, what the employers are looking for is pretty much the same. How you display it is up to you, but try to include as much of the following information. So your contact information is extremely important to supply your contact details on your resume. Some applicants forget this, and I've actually had to call the applicant. I really wanted to speak to this person because I'm like, you didn't put your name. Like everything else, their email address, and no name. I'm like, okay. So it's very important to put that information. You also want a mailing address. Okay, when I say mailing address, you don't have to put your full mailing address. You might want to just put the city and state that you're in. Okay, because a lot of employers sometimes want you to live within a certain mile radius of their facility. So be aware of that as well. Okay, and then your telephone number, and then, oh goodness, I've run into so many problems with the telephone number. Okay, so they provide a telephone number that doesn't have an answering service, or a number that is disconnected, or a number that is just crazy. I'm like, how do you want to, you're putting these resumes out, but I can't get a hold of you. Or the favorite one, mailbox is full. Who does that? Who does that? Check your mails, clear them, get the voicemail cleared. If you're expecting a job opportunity, especially, because on those situations, guess what? Mary Lou looks better now because you didn't have the correct information for me to call you. And an employer is very impatient, and they're not going to keep on calling you. So be mindful of that. Make sure that you keep your voicemails clear and you're accessible. Your career profile, which is your summary of qualifications, your objective, you want to say, or what I call it is a professional summary. Here you should include a brief summary of your skills and areas of expertise. This will quickly give the potential employer an idea as to what you can do. Okay, just in that quick, brief thing before you go into all your work experience, the summary of qualifications, your career profile should just kind of give them a synopsis of what you're doing and where you're trying to go. Your work experience. Include all your work experience, preferably including the company, the job title, your responsibilities, and dates of the company where you are currently working or previously associated with. So that's very key that you do that you put that information on there, okay? Dates of employment is important because I've seen plenty of resumes that don't have dates. I'm like, okay, what are they doing? Are they trying to hide something? Do they not want me to know they were just there for 3 weeks? So just be very clear because employers do not have a lot of time.
Go ahead. I have a question on that. How many years are you supposed to disclose? Like, for instance, you were talking about if you've had a job for 10 years, you've already put only one job on a resume that can't go back more than 10 years. So.
Oh, okay, that's a good question. Normally, like, I look for like the last 10 to 15 years, and if you've been at that one employer for that long, I just ran into that situation. I'm recruiting for a director of HR in San Jose, and a gentleman just put, his last 10 years of employment. And I said, okay, so is that the only company you've been with? He goes, no, I've been at other companies, but what I was told is not to put the other employers. Well, not necessarily, because that just tells me you've been at one employer and there's nothing else. You've never worked anywhere else, so that could be a bad thing. You want to at least list 2 or 3 jobs. Even if you've been there a long tenure of employment, we want to see the diversity. We want to see where else have you worked. Was this the only, if it's your only employer, it's your only employer. But if there's other ones, go back. Put at least 2 to 3 positions.
You said that they don't put dates beside their work. What if they had only been there for 3 weeks?
I wouldn't put it. I would leave it off. It's too irrelevant.
Right.
I wouldn't leave it off. 3-week assignment, I wouldn't. Unless you're through an agency, and you've been on different assignments that 1 week is 3 weeks, the next is, 2 weeks, the next is a month, 2 months, then you could just put the agency name and how long you've been at the agency. Yes.
You mentioned about the length of work of one individual. I've been in my company for more than 15 years.
Okay.
So I'm only listing one.
But do you have any other work besides the 15 years? Did you work anywhere else, or is that your only solely job?
I started working with Carl Jr., but I was 20.
Okay, so then that would be irrelevant to where you want to go. So I would leave that off.
And how bad will the potential employees look at that?
No, I mean, being at a company for 15 years shows a lot of dedication. It's not frowned upon. It's just, why would you put Carl's Jr. when you're trying to be like a manager or something? It doesn't correlate.
As long as it shows.
If it's in the same field, yes, I would put it. If it's not, then no. Okay, go ahead.
Back to formatting. Would you recommend putting the resume on a resume paper, a special paper for the interview?
If you're going in for the interview, yes. Like a nice, that you took time, it just shows that you put an extra effort into it. That's all. If you put it on a special paper, yeah. But sending it in, everything is electronic nowadays, so it's really irrelevant, how you do that. Go ahead.
I'm currently being with this company for 15 years. My prior employer is closed, so should I still disclose it and have closed?
Yeah, yes. That's when you go on the interview, then you put, what is the reason that you left that job, and you put on there, it's no longer that company is no longer around. You could disclose that at that time during the interview. But yeah, definitely put I'd say at least 2 to 3, relevant, but it has to be relevant to where you're going. If it's like you worked at, a clothing department and you're trying to work in an office environment, then no. Okay, so education. Include all your educational qualifications. Ensure you include licenses or certifications you have acquired. Oh, I'm sorry.
So what if, you were applying for a business job, but your only work experience is at a restaurant? Would you still put the restaurant working experience on there?
Yes. If that's your only work-related experience, yes. But then inside of I would do a functional resume because you want to put your skill sets in there. Because you don't want to highlight that where you work, but highlight the skills that are transferable into an office environment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How about when you have when you're working at a job, but you left that job and you came back? Will you list it again and put the same description?
Yes, and how long was the gap?
3 years.
Yeah, you would list it the same. And then you would put the company name, and then maybe do you have the same title or different title?
Same title.
Yeah, it would. They may have a couple of questions on that, but yeah. But in between, you went to work somewhere else.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so education. So make sure you put your certifications. Even I like to see if you've gone and done seminars and things like that to enhance your education. Those are good to put on there. So a lot of people are like, well, I just have a high school diploma. Well, did you go to like those Fred Pryor seminars or national seminars? Those are good to put on there because it shows that you have some engagement with going to a higher level of education. You're trying to self-educate or get more knowledge, even though if it's not through the college level. And then your skills. Mention any relevant skills in terms of software and hardware systems and other technical skills. So that's important too. I look at a lot of skill sets and what you can bring to the company, because at the end of the day, you're selling yourself. Okay? What I have versus the next person. So you want to just highlight everything that you can in that resume and just make sure it's worded appropriately and professional. And I think you guys will do well. So we've answered questions in between, but is there any further questions?
I do. How would you list like your skills? You know, you put it in like a sentence format, or is it just like a list of?
Okay, so I have two areas. I do an areas of expertise or core competencies, and then also I do just skills. So skills can be like, I know how to type 75 words per minute. I know how to do PowerPoint. I know how to do Word, Excel. Any type of programs you have is a skill set that most employers want to see what you have.
And in the format of the resume,
Where would I put that in? So I start, and I'm going to just give you kind of a basis. I do resume writing professionally. So I start with the summary of qualifications or the professional summary, and then I go into the areas of expertise because, like I said, these managers, they have limited time to look at your resume. So you want to put it out there. This is what I know how to do. My areas of expertise. These are my core competencies. Then I'll go into the work experience. Okay? And then after the work experience, then I'll say my skills and then my education, accomplishment. Well, I go skills, accomplishments, education. And education is just like an extra bonus for them to see. Yes?
Is there an example of functional, I'm a visual, but an example of functional resume that we can see?
Well,
what it looks like? Or?
I don't have one on me.
Do they have one at the university?
Well, you know what? You can Google it. You just Google a functional resume, and they'll all come up. You just put samples, and then also click on. Let me show you a little bit. Okay, so under a functional resume, it's going to show your areas of expertise, and then you're going to go straight into your skills. And skills is going to be formatted into either bullet points or reading. Like I've done the. So it's more of your skills, and then under work experience, it says this employer's name, ABC company, the date I was there, and the job title. Then it goes to the next one. So it doesn't list your job responsibilities right underneath there, like a traditional resume would. So it highlights more of your skills and what you can do and bring to the company than a traditional is like the name of the company, your job title, and then all your job responsibilities. Then it goes on to the next one. That's a traditional. But a functional is just your skills, you're explaining to them what you can bring to the table, and then it goes work experience and the name and then the dates of employment.
And also another question, last time I wrote a resume was like 8 years ago, and it was exactly that. You wrote basically what you did for a job.
Right.
But nowadays they say, don't just list that, write down like how you contributed to your department.
Right, so that's your key,
Some of the jobs.
Well, that's your accomplishments. What did you bring to the table? What did you do? What are you proud of that you took on a project and you got it completed in X amount of time, and I saved the company 75% by implementing this program. They want to see that kind of stuff. They want to see what did you do to what did you do for the company, and what does that equivalent to? How can they help us? Because they want to get something from you. The employers want to see how you can elevate their company. So you have to think in that mode on the employer side, not just your side trying to get the job. They want to see how can you complement them. Yes?
You didn't mention references. Do you put that on your resume?
I always put references available upon request, because don't divulge more information than you have to. If they want to see your references, they'll do that during the interview. And they'll just say, do you have any references that you can leave us? And that's usually going to the next step after the interview. We like to see some of your references so we can contact them. Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have any other questions? Yes.
If you left the job, I'm not unfavorable term.
Okay.
Whether it
Yeah, well, if you've been there like 3-4 years, you have to. I mean, what else are you going to put in that gap? You don't want to leave anything blank. Now, if it was, like she said, if you've only been there 3-4 weeks and it was unfavorable and they let you go, then it's, it's whatever. You just don't put it. But if you've been there a long time and they let you go for whatever reason it is, you still have to put it on your resume. And in today's world, employers are not supposed to give you a bad reference. Okay, because they could be sued for that. So defamation of character or whatever. So put it on there and then you explain, because a lot of employers ask you, why did you leave that company or what happened? And then you have to finagle or finesse what you're going to say. Is there any other? I think we had.
Yeah, I did have a question. I went to design school.
Okay.
That's art school, and they constantly talked about our resumes as having like a logo for yourself. And I think it's maybe, I don't know if that's the right term, but I think it's kind of maybe egotistical to put like a logo. Because like, we had to build a logo, put them on business cards and do all this stuff, right? Because it's like, when they look at your resume, because I want to go into the video game industry. Right. Yeah, it's like they see that logo, it's like, oh, I want to read this. But is that really true? I mean, is it?
Well, I guess it's per the industry. Like, you're a gaming industry, so maybe that's something that they do in that particular industry. Or it might be something eye-catching, So it could help or it could hurt. I don't know. It just depends on who's reviewing the resume.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if you were off of work for a year, but you worked for different employers, not for an agency, but like different companies, and when the job ended, I don't know if that's when you're...
I'm not for sure. I'm unclear about your question.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I said I was off of work for a year, but I worked for several employers.
Okay, so were you a consultant?
I guess so.
Okay, so you left a job and then you went out on your own to...
No, they laid me off. So the company filed for bankruptcy. So for a year, in order for me to survive, I worked.
You picked up different jobs, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't like long term because as soon as the job ended, that's when I no longer had a job.
It's like a temp agency.
Well, was it through an agency?
No, I wasn't a temp. I was just like people that I knew, and they're like.
Well, that's considered a consultant. Okay. So you would put on your resume you consulted for a year, and if they needed to get references, they would just call those people.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, way in the back.
My question is, today when you're applying for jobs on the internet, become like one of 100 or 200 applicants.
Right.
So how would you, I guess, write your resume so that it fits, so that it actually gets picked up by the software that's scanning?
Okay, yeah, the parse system. Right. So a lot of resumes, especially resumes don't get seen at all because there's a system called a parse where they extract just keywords. It's okay, I need this keyword, this keyword, this keyword, this keyword. And only resumes with those words that they type in are going to extract. And these are the larger companies that are using this system. And it's actually non-favorable if you don't know what the keywords are. So to your question, yeah, you just have to know what the keywords are to put, especially for how people say that you should tailor your resume to that job description because what they're doing is they're looking at their job description and say, okay, I need to have this, or if it's a requirement, like I need you to have an SPHR certificate or I need you to have this, those things are pulling through too. So then they have they're looking more focused on those applicants. So out of 200, only 10 of them pull over. The rest of them, they don't even see you. Okay?
Angela, I actually have this top 10 keywords employers have been searching in career builder, and I can give some of those to you. So, I mean, even if you're not, like, number one is customer service. So even though you're not into customer service, put that in there. You as a manager, you kind of
right.
Customer service.
Your skills,
right?
Yeah, customer service, yeah.
Customer service, outside sales, 3 is recruiter, 4 is manager, 5 is registered nurse, 6 is administrative assistant, 7 physical therapist, 8 is CPA, 9 is call center, and 10 is licensed practical nurse. But I think for the general population, probably customer service,
and manager,
if you can put those
It's basically the keywords, descriptive words. You want to make sure you include those into your resume, but it's also good to just have, I always have like a general resume that I send out that I can just send out to the masses. Then there's going to be those ones that you're like, oh no, I need to write this one separate. I need to put these specific keywords that I really want to get this job, and then submit it in, because they're going to more than likely call you because you have the keywords in there. Is there any other questions? I think we need to, is it lunchtime? Yeah. We're going to move on. Did everyone sign in? I have a sign-in sheet. Was everyone able to sign in? Okay, so one other person. Well, I'm going to pull a name out of, you guys signed in. I'll pull a number, I'm sorry. And the person that I pull will get a free resume writing service from my company. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay, number 4. Who's that on the list?
Saul Gonzalez.
All right, Saul. So, if you didn't get my business cards, did everyone get a business card? Okay, so my husband, Omar Anderson, he has the business cards, and I'm also giving anyone that signed up on my sign-in sheet 20% off resume writing service. So you guys can contact me directly, and we'll get these resumes right. Get you guys employed, right? That's what we want. We want everybody to get a job, something that they want to do, not somebody that they're forced to do. So I appreciate all you guys for coming out. Oh, okay, one other question, I'm sorry. Yes, it's 20% off my resume writing service. Now, just for a resume is $100, and if you want a resume plus cover letter, it's $150. Okay, and yeah, go ahead.
So do you do job placement?
Yes, HR, staffing, and recruiting. Mm-hmm. Yes.
What's your success rate for your clientele getting that job that they want?
Well, I've had a lot of people getting jobs from me. They've gotten a call, and the thing is, interviews, that's a portion that some of my clients get stuck on, and I also help them with interview techniques that they needed, because I can get you in the door, but you got to close the deal. All right? Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.